22 years since the passing of Paul and Sheila Wellstone, nearly to the date. If only they could see what the world has come to, what's become of their family, of their friends, of their children, of me. Bet you didn't know Paul had an older brother. I don't always believe it myself. It's hard living in your little brother's shadow. You know, I saw one of those bumper stickers the other day. What would Wellstone do? I wish I knew. I think as much about the man you would become as the boy you used to be.
Oh, sorry.
That's right. This is where it all started, isn't it? The sun, the sky, the breeze. Our parents took us here every summer the second school let out. Sandcastle skyscrapers, ice cream on hot days. It's as clear as a bell. And you, well, both of you, it was like any other day. Our parents brought us to the shore, been here 1,000 times before, and it's mesmerizing. A summer breeze sails through the air, my face is fried and I don't care. As I'm realizing, there was a time when we were both so carefree. How could I let it pass me by? We were so young and we were both just barely big enough to see the sky. There's a place I know where we can both be free, where the sky is clear and you can taste the sea. If you want to find it, then just follow me, I'll be there, safe with you in memory. Go get him, Tiger.
Hi.
Hello there.
Hi, I'm Paul. What's your name?
Come again.
Hi, I'm Paul. Paul Wellstone. And, you are?
I'm Sheila Eisen. You're Steven's little brother, aren't you?
Yeah, you could say that.
Oh, I've seen you around.
Yeah? What book were you reading?
The Myth of Women's Inferiority. Ever heard of it?
Of course! I mean, no. I'm not very well versed in feminist theory, to tell you the truth.
That's a shame. Men could learn a lot from women.
Well? Oh! So, come here often?
Only in the summer. I go to school in DC.
Me too. How much time do you have left?
This will be my senior year.
Me too.
Oh, no kidding. What are your plans for after school?
Oh, I haven't really thought about it. I just thought I'd take it one step at a time, you know?
I don't buy that.
What do you mean?
You seem like the kind of guy who's got it all figured out. The 5-year plan, the works.
That's not me. Although, no, it'll sound stupid.
What?
Someday, I want to be President of the United States.
That's a lot more than a 5-year plan.
I told you it would sound stupid.
You know what, though? I think you could do it.
You do?
I mean, I only just met you 2 minutes ago, but sure. You have made a pretty good impression so far.
Well, that's good. I feel like I'm still missing something, you know, like one last piece of the puzzle.
You'll have to let me know when you find it.
Like summer turning into fall, so too did Sheila turn to Paul. Their emotions carried across the world and through the years, filled with their laughter, love, and tears. And they'd soon be married. The wedding day arrived like any other. We had been waiting for a while. I I stood up tall beside my little brother, Sheila walking down the aisle.
There's a place I know where we can both be free, where the sky is clear and you can taste the sea. We can go and find it, it's just you and me. I'll be there. By your side is where I'll be.
Oh, congrats, little bro. Still can't believe Sheila settled for a total egghead like you.
Hey, careful, this egghead still has a few moves left in him.
Still can't believe you beat me to the altar.
It's not a race. Hey, slow down. Save some for the reception.
I'm just trying to lift my spirits.
Excuse me, Stephen, but can I borrow my husband?
Oh, go on. It's your night. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. Go ahead. Of course I was happy for him. How could I not be? Still, you spend enough time in your kid brother's shadow, it starts to eat at you. It ate at me. Paul was living a life I'd always dreamed of but could never have. All I could do was just watch from the sidelines. The time goes by like the waves receding, the moments fleeting. So where do I fit into Paul's picture perfect life? A career, a family, a picture perfect wife. Am I wrong here? Do I belong here?
Thank you for calling us, doctor, but how did you...
He hasn't said a word. He showed up in the middle of the night with an ID and a list of emergency contacts. Yours were the first names on the list.
How long has he been like this?
Since he arrived. We've showed him to his room and he's barely made a sound. Has anything like this ever happened with him before?
Forgive me, but do you know what's wrong with him?
My best guess is that it's some sort of mental breakdown, but it's hard to say. There's still so much about the human mind that we don't understand. All we can really do is try to help the best we can.
I see.
If I may ask, what is your relation to the patient?
In-law. Paul's his brother.
Oh,
Stephen? I'm going to put my hand on you. Is that okay? I still don't get it, Stephen. I wish there was something we could do. I wish you could find the words, but I know it's not that easy. I just want you to know that whatever happens, we're here for you. I'm here for you. I won't leave you. Promise.
He was true to his word. Paul held my shoulder all night long, a constant reminder of the promise he made me. I couldn't bear to look at him. I was just too embarrassed, too ashamed. But if I knew then what I knew now, nothing in the world could stop me from turning around and telling him. It doesn't matter. That night we each took a separate road, and it would take us the rest of our lives to find each other again. Oh, say shalom, imromav, huya say shalom, alenu, ve'al kol Israel ve'imru, amen.
Some call you Allah, some Zen Buddha, some Elijah, others the Prince of Peace. Whatever your name, we know you are the same God, one who does not reign over conflict in the universe. So, we come to the one who cannot lose a case in court. Our bones are broken, battered, and bleached. We want to be the people to bring love to a hate-filled world. America is pluralistic. There's talks of it being a melting pot. The blacks are being pushed down to the bottom of the pot. We are going to come up and be recognized or turn the pot over. Now, if we are going to win, we have got to take an issue that is not racial. Now, when we change the race problem into a class fight between the haves and the have-nots, then we are going to have a new ball game.
That was the Reverend Jesse Jackson speaking from Chicago today to supporters of Operation Breadbasket, one of Dr. Martin Luther's pet project before his untimely death last year. Reverend Jackson was just...
How do I look?
Like a teacher.
Is that a compliment?
Like the handsomest teacher this side of the Mississippi.
How are the kids?
Well, Mark and David are on the bus already. Marcia is still asleep, and she hasn't made a peep all morning.
Well, I wonder who she gets that from.
Definitely not her father.
Just wait until she starts talking. Are you sure you're okay with all of this?
What do you mean?
I mean, Minnesota, it's not the coast.
Paul, I've told you 1,000 times. Anywhere we are is home.
I guess I just needed to hear it one more time.
Oh, you don't want to be late on your first day of school. You better get going, Professor.
You're right. I'll see you later tonight, and if Stephen calls, will you let me know?
Of course.
Thank you.
Freeze. This is the moment. Paul and Sheila's perfect little life. Perfect house, perfect kids. This could have been their whole world. It's already more than most people could ever hope for. Now, it hadn't even been 10 years since Paul and Sheila settled down to start a family and a life together, but it already felt like America had grown up in more ways than one. The momentum of the civil rights movement had stalled after the deaths of Robert Kennedy and Dr. King, leaving heroes like the Reverend Jesse Jackson, John Lewis, and Rosa Parks to carry the torch. For his part, Paul's doctoral dissertation, Black Militants in the Ghetto, Why They Believe in Violence, earned him his PhD in political science in May of 1969. Soon enough, he'd introduce his own special brand of community activism to Carleton College in Northfield, Minnesota. That was the moment that changed everything. I sometimes still wonder if we'd all be better off if that scrappy little Jewish professor who couldn't keep his head down did.
Good morning, class. Hope you all found the place okay. Well, of course you did. You're all here, I suppose. Anyway, I am Professor Wellstone. You can call me Paul. I'll be teaching Intro to Political Science this semester. Oh, and this is Gabrielle. She'll be our teaching assistant, and we'll be happy to help you out with anything in case I'm unavailable. Now, I know most classes start with us going over the syllabus, but today I just want to get a feel for where we're all at. When you hear the word politician, what is the first word that comes to your mind? Don't be shy, just the first thing you think of.
Phony!
Phony! Good! Any others?
Corrupt.
Broken promises.
Big money.
Yeah.
Good, good. You are all painting a very clear picture, and I can't say I blame any of you. But there is one other word I want you all to think of. Phony. Tool. That's right. Politicians are tools. Tools for us, the people, to use. And when you have a broken tool, you can either fix it or replace it.
How are we supposed to do that?
Well, vote, for one, but that's only the beginning. Before I came here, I spent a lot of time in the South. I saw the civil rights movement firsthand. Saw many of my friends beaten down, or worse. But I also saw how quickly things can change when we stand together as one. Politics is not about money or power, winning for the sake of winning. Politics is about the improvement of people's lives. That is what this class is all about. For your first homework assignment, I want each of you pick an issue that hits close to home for you. It can be anything, a busy intersection that needs a stop sign, or a pothole in your street, or something more personal if you feel comfortable enough sharing. And then come Wednesday, we'll talk about it and go from there.
And then what?
Well, we'll find someone who can do something about it, and we'll give them hell. It's about time you kids took this town by storm.
No one's taken this town by storm since
Jesse James.
Well, this town has yet to meet Paul Wellstone. I won't pretend the world is perfect. I won't pretend it's even fair. It's not the way I would prefer it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't care, 'cause you can change it if you want to. The question isn't if, but how. The power lives inside all of you. The time to make a change is now, so don't give up, don't give in, don't let cynicism win. You've got a chance to make a change. Take the world and rearrange all of its pieces. Now here's my thesis. You have got to try to keep the dream alive. It's just one more way to make a brighter day. People live and die, but their ideas survive, so keep the dream alive. Keep the dream alive. The dream alive. The dream
And so, Paul set out to work, inflaming the passions of every student who walked through his office door, as he continued to do throughout his time at Carleton. His work became the stuff of legend, and word quickly got around about the short Jewish professor who made waves wherever he went. Political rallies, labor strikes, land disputes. Not everyone approved of Paul's subversive teaching methods, of course, but what kind of activist doesn't step on a few toes every now and then, right?
You asked to see me?
Yes, I did. This will only take a moment.
Am I in trouble?
That depends. You've been teaching for a number of years now, haven't you?
It'll be 8 this coming semester.
Well, you certainly have gotten to know your way around campus, and your students certainly love you. I've never seen a professor with such strong feedback.
So what's the problem?
The problem is you've been teaching them a little too well. I've had nothing but complaints since the moment you set foot here. Faculty, councilmen, seems like your students have been giving them quite a bit of trouble these past few years, and frankly, I can see where they're coming from.
Well, I'm teaching them to be politically active.
We're paying you to teach them political science, not rope every class you teach into your latest harebrained scheme to undermine this school.
There is no scheme.
Oh, okay. How about the Hormel meat plant strike?
Well, I like to think of that as practical application.
And rallying in support of our striking janitors?
Well, there are coworkers too.
And what about trying to raise a stink over the companies we do business with who do business in South Africa?
But they are supporting apartheid.
The point is, you've been nothing but trouble with a capital T since the day we hired you. Instead of trying to change the world, perhaps you should consider changing the way you teach.
We both know that's not going to happen.
Very well then. You're fired.
Fired? You can't. I've got a wife and
You
kids.
should have thought of that before you decided to become a martyr. Look, Paul, this isn't my decision. It's out of my hands.
Well, who's going to take over my class?
There's always someone willing to do the same work for less. Have your stuff cleared out by noon.
But
Out! And take some of those troublemakers with you. Go if you can.
Morning, class. Sorry I'm late. Last minute change of plans.
Well, where's Professor Wellstone?
Professor Wellstone will no longer be teaching this class.
What?
This was a decision made by the board of Carleton based on disagreements with his teaching style.
What about all the work we've been doing?
Everything he taught us about activism and making our voices heard.
We will be continuing with Professor Wellstone's work. Look, I may be putting my job on the line here, but rest assured, Paul has the full support of his fellow faculty, and we are not going down without a fight.
So what can we do?
We need to put Professor Wellstone's teachings, just like he taught you, into practice. Follow me. like to have a little chat.
Hello, this is the Wellstone residence.
Hello, how is my favorite professor?
Ex-professor, remember? What do you want?
Listen, Paul, I have an office full of your students here, and I can't seem to get them out of my hair. They've been threatening to go every news station in town, and frankly, I can't handle a PR crisis like this. What do you say we forget that conversation this morning ever happened, huh?
Well, how do I know you're not just going to cut me loose the next time you can get away with it?
Listen, they've already contacted the board, and they're breathing down my neck. I really can't take no for an answer, Paul.
I know. So what can you do for me?
We can raise your salary 15% and tenure. Yes, you'll be the youngest tenured professor in the Carleton history.
You drive a hard bargain, Dean, but it's a deal. I'll see you Monday. Thank you. You all really came through for me.
Of course we did, Teach. You taught us all we could make a difference. We'll never forget that.
Well, thank you. Truly, I'll have to make it up to you somehow.
What you're doing is enough, Paul.
I can't believe my oldest student forgot my most important rule.
What's that?
Always ask for more.
When I look out at this convention, I see the face of America. Red, brown, yellow, black, and white. We're all precious in God's sight. The real Rainbow Coalition. Wherever you are tonight, you can make it. Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. It gets dark sometimes, but the morning comes. You must not surrender. You may or may not make it, but just know that you are qualified. And you hold on and you hold out. America will get better and better. Keep hope alive. Tomorrow night and beyond. Keep hope alive. I love you very much.
Thank you so much for coming, Reverend.
The pleasure's all mine. I should be thanking you two for the wonderful meal.
Oh, that was all Sheila. I'm helpless in the kitchen.
Anyways, we saw your speech at the convention. It was truly inspiring.
Should have been you up there accepting the nomination.
That's very kind of you to say.
You know, it's crazy. One minute, you're this up-and-coming reverend we keep hearing about. And before you know it, Paul is chairing your presidential campaign.
I just wish I could have done more.
You've done plenty, Paul. Running a campaign is no easy task. And running the campaign for the first black president of the Midwest, even harder. We'll get there someday. I just hope I'll live to see it.
You will. I'm sure of it.
So, what's next for you then?
I haven't really thought about it. I thought I would just go back to teaching for a while.
Really? I figured you'd have your sights set higher than that. You never thought about running for high office yourself.
Not really, no.
Oh, he's just being modest. You know, the day we met, he told me that he wanted to run for president of the United States.
Is that right?
I mean, sure, but that's a long ways off.
You're right. Better to start small. How about running for the U.S. Senate?
That's not exactly what I had in mind.
Isn't it?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said I never thought about it, but you've seen how it is. All the wheeling and dealing, the selling yourself out. That isn't me. I'd rather work behind the scenes for the good candidates who come along.
Good candidates are in short supply, which is exactly why we need you, Paul. We need more people who understand the discrimination that me and my sisters have faced and are actually willing to do something about it.
Well, I would never claim to understand the black experience, Reverend.
But you've tried. I've seen your body of work. You understand race politics more than 90% of the white folks in Congress. We are still living in the shadows of slavery and Jim Crow all these years later. Someone like you would do wonders for this country. I've seen a lot of politicians, and trust me, they all act the same.
popular. We truly appreciate it. Together, we're going to take the fight to Washington, and we're going to show them how we get things done here in Minnesota. It's about time we had less representatives worrying out about the Rockefellers and more about the little fellers. And if elected, I promise I will serve no more than 2 terms in the U.S. Senate. 12 years is enough for any politician. And in the meantime, we will fight for better jobs, better wages, and better health care for everyone. Because we all do better when we all do better. If we win, I know we'll keep the dream alive. And I'm not afraid to keep the vows I've made. Leaders come and go so that our nation will thrive. So keep the dream alive. Keep the dream alive.
We'll keep the dream alive. We'll keep the dream alive. We'll keep the dream alive. We'll keep the dream alive.
You taught us how to organize. It's our pleasure to put it into practice for you.
Thank you. With you guys by my side, there's no way we can lose.
Not a bad kickoff event, eh, Paul?
Not at all.
Noam Coleman, Finance Director for the DFL. We spoke on the phone earlier.
Yes, it's nice to finally meet you in person.
Just thought I'd check in on our star recruit. Have you had a chance to go over the fundraising plans I sent you?
Can't say that I have, no.
It's very simple. I drew up a full list for you of every dinner and fundraiser you'll be expected to attend over the next month or so. Hope you've got a big appetite. I'll send it to your campaign manager first thing.
Gabby, why don't you field this one? Well, someone is Mr. Popular.
Just wait until he finds out how much money we don't have.
No, that can't be all he cares about.
These big party guys, it's all money to them.
Well, I certainly wish you the best of luck. We'll be in contact.
Looking forward to it.
Big money may not be who you are, but how exactly do you plan on traveling the whole state on a shoestring budget? Can't exactly afford to have you chartered around on a private jet.
And that jalopy of yours is on its last wheel.
How about a bus?
Maverick candidate Paul Wellstone is certainly making waves with an unusual campaign strategy, actually talking to voters. Standing in stark contrast to Senator Boschwitz, who has scarcely made appearances and demurred against any kind of political debate between the candidates, a theme which Paul Wellstone emphasized in his first campaign ad.
Well, I'd expect there to be some kind of debate. Yeah, woo.
Is Rudy Boschwitz here?
Yeah, I'd love to see Paul debate with Rudy.
Yeah, we are looking for Rudy Boschwitz. Has anyone seen him?
Of course there should be debates. Why shouldn't there be?
Seriously, has anyone seen Rudy Boschwitz?
Some people have more money than others, and when you're debating, it's like you're standing there with no money.
Well, rest assured, there will be debates on the key issues in this campaign. Keep a lookout for upcoming dates and places. Oh, and if you happen to see a silver-haired gentleman in a plaid shirt, will you mention I'm looking for him?
Recent opinion polling confirms that the Senate race is a toss-up, with Democrat Paul Wellstone gaining on Senator Boschwitz in recent weeks. And Senator Boschwitz is certainly fearing the burn, making a rare public appearance today to denounce Wellstone's candidacy.
So the professor wants a debate. I'll give him a debate. So this Paul is quite the upstart with a useless bleeding heart. It's a wonder that he ever got this far. He's a liberal, he's a phony, he's a democratic crony. He's all the things these wingnuts say they are. It's true, he even left his faith behind. Though I hate to say it, let me just remind. I'm a Jew, makes a mockery of his life. When he takes a Gentile woman for his wife.
Well, I guess Rudy has a problem with Christians then.
The results are in, and it's a squeaker. But Minnesota's next senator will be the Democrat Paul Wellstone.
Congratulations, Paul. The kids want it for you.
Now it's up to you to keep the dream alive. Show us you can be the change you wish to see. If what you said is true, then your supporters will thrive and keep the dream alive.
person I voted for in years who's won.
Well, congratulations, Paul. I knew that you could do it. Paul, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just smarting over that bad Jew thing, I guess.
Oh, don't pay attention to Boschwitz. He's just bitter and
I know, and I shouldn't, but it's just, well, who the hell gets to decide something like that anyway? Why does it have to get so nasty?
It doesn't. And you were elected to change all that. No one knows you better than you. Besides, as always, I'll be right here with you. Now we have a busy few weeks ahead of us, so we better get going. Are you coming?
Yeah, in a minute, I'll catch up.
U.S. Senate, the halls of history. Yet, despite its prestige and significance, Paul would soon find it was a lot more like a high school cafeteria.
Mr. President, we stand on the brink of catastrophe if we allow self-imposed deadlines, domestic politics, and military logistics rush us into a war that nobody wants, and that even in victory will be so severely damaging to our national interests. An agenda for war has been laid out. I believe it is now time to lay out an agenda for peace. I would like to leave you tonight, Mr. President, with this wonderful Hebrew word, tikkun. It means to understand and to heal the world.
Wellstone, isn't it?
That's right.
Senator Fritz Holland, South Carolina.
Ah.
Say, has anyone ever told you that you remind them of Hubert Humphrey?
No, but that is an honor.
Yeah. You talk too much.
Don't let them get to you. They just like hazing the new guy.
Senator Biden.
Joe's fine. Paul, right?
That's right.
Well, let me tell you from experience, Paul, this place can seem like a mess sometimes, but don't let it get to you. Soon enough, it'll become your home away from home. When I got here, I was a single dad with 2 boys and barely a clue. But they helped me find myself.
Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine.
You will. And if anyone gives you any grief, just ignore them. They all think they're going to be president someday.
Well, hello there, Senator.
Reverend.
That's Senator Reverend. I just accepted the distinguished office of Washington, D.C.'s first shadow senator.
Hi. Didn't even know that was a thing.
Barely. No salary, no vote. The best I get is free parking. Mainly, I'm here to try to convince the other senators on statehood for the Douglas Commonwealth. Can I have your support?
Of course. I've long felt representation for our nation's capital is overdue.
Yes, and yet you're the first senator I spoke to this morning where I didn't have to work to convince. I suppose we'll be seeing each other from time to time, though.
Well, looking forward to working with you.
Paul's first couple of years in the Senate whizzed by with little fanfare. Turns out there are limits to what a junior senator in the opposition party can do. It wouldn't be long, however, before a certain election turned Washington upside down.
Now we are in a time of profound change and opportunity. The end of the Cold War, the information age, and the global economy have given us both opportunity and hope, and uncertainty and strife. Our purpose in this dynamic age must be to change, to make change our friend, not our enemy. This healthcare system of ours is badly broken, and it is time we fix it. After decades of false starts, we must make this our most urgent priority. Healthcare for every American, health security, healthcare that can't be taken away. This is what we must do tonight.
But Clinton miscalculated. The healthcare bill he'd end up pitching to the nation was a non-starter, and Paul began to chafe up against the unspoken status quo of Washington.
Hey there, Mr. Big Shot Senator. How's your day been?
Not too great, if I'm being honest. I just found out the Clintons are abandoning their big healthcare push for now.
Really? Isn't that the the big thing he was running on?
Well, yeah, but it's hard to sell the nation on something when you can barely even explain what it does. I tried pitching them on my own healthcare bill, but barely even let my foot in the door. Feels like even when we're in the majority, we can never win.
I'm sure it'll get better soon.
Well, I hope so. My re-election is in a couple of years, and I feel like I've barely done anything. What am I supposed to run on?
You'll think of something.
I wish you were here. I could use a friend.
Still no luck getting through to anyone, huh?
No, I've been told I can be very abrasive and off-putting.
What gives them that idea?
Enough of my pity party. How are you?
Well, I stopped at the Victims Crisis Center in Austin.
Is that so?
They're doing amazing work there, but it's one thing to see all this stuff in the paper or on TV, but it's a totally different thing to witness it all firsthand.
I know what you mean. Maybe we could do something about it.
You think so?
We have to try, right? I mean, if we could find at least one person in Washington who cares enough and who has enough clout. I mean, Jesse's great, but he has even less support than I do.
I might have an idea, but you're going to have to trust me on this. Deal?
Of course.
Sheila, it's good to see you.
You too, Madam Clinton.
Just Hillary, please.
Well, I'm really glad you were able to fit me in today.
Oh, it's no problem. I'm always happy to make time for politicians' wives. You'd be surprised at how few of us actually leverage our husband's power to get things done.
I don't think I would be, and that's the sad part. Now, did anyone tell you what we're meeting about today?
Sure did. You want to talk about domestic violence?
I do. Now, did you know that every 12 seconds...
A woman is beaten by her husband or partner? Or that every year 4,000 women are murdered? I do my research. Trust me, I've been trying to make an issue out of this for years. It's outrageous, and it's only thanks to women like you that people are even starting to realize it's an issue at all. I'm a big fan of that work you've been doing out in Minnesota, and it's about time Washington repaid the favor, don't you think?
That's right.
Now, I've been pushing a bill for a while now, the Violence Against Women Act. I think it'll really make a difference. Joe Biden, Joe, the senator from Delaware, he's been working on it for months now. I'll have someone in my office, have someone in his office send you the text along with a breakdown of all the legalese. I want you to read it. Share with me your thoughts. Anything you can think of to improve it.
Me or Paul? Because I could give you Paul's
Please,
number.
Sheila, I have Paul's number. Your husband is a good man, and I'm sure I can count on his support, but I need you with me on this. Women like us have no shortage of agency, whatever the men might say. Now, if Paul and Joe and whoever else wants to come along, then great. But this is our fight.
I don't know what to say.
Just say you'll look over what my office sends you right away. And don't be shy with sharing any feedback. Your experience makes your opinion invaluable, as does your status as a political spouse. Like it or not, we're as much a part of the politics game as our husbands. They sell it to Congress, but we get to sell it to the people.
Well, thank you. I will.
May I ask you a question, Sheila?
What's that?
Have you ever considered a career in politics? Running for yourself, I mean.
I really hadn't.
Maybe you should. We could use more women like you in power. Women who listen, women who get things done. Who knows? Maybe you and Paul could share a ticket.
I don't think that'd be such a good idea.
Why is that?
Well, one of us has to get more votes than the other, and I'm not so sure it'd be Paul.
Paul, I had no idea you were so invested in addressing domestic violence.
It's really more of Sheila's issue, to be honest.
It's all of ours. As men in this country, we have a duty to protect our most vulnerable citizens. And listening to our wives every once in a while isn't a bad idea either.
I learned my lesson there.
I gotta ask though, why didn't you come to me or any of the other senators about this? You know we'd never turn down a co-sponsor.
I just didn't think anyone else cared that much.
What do you think we're doing here? Renaming post offices?
It's just hard not to be cynical about politics sometimes.
I understand. But just remember, no one is an island here. You'll never get anything done trying to do it all by yourself. So don't be afraid to reach out.
Thanks, Joe.
Let's go get this bill passed.
And so it became known around Washington as it had in Minnesota. The quickest way to Paul was through Sheila, and the quickest way to Sheila was through Paul. They were as inseparable in public life as they were in private. A 2-for-1 package deal senator.
you get the bill text that Mrs. Clinton's office sent over?
Yes, and Senator Biden and I already have a meeting on the agenda with Senator Hatch. Plus, I have a few other ideas of my own.
You're gonna get this done, Paul.
We're gonna get this done. Another year has come and gone. It feels so different from the last. Suddenly, it all goes by so fast. I said I'd change a thing or two, shake things up, and now it's almost true. And it's all thanks to you. Think back to the reason why you ran. Think back to before this all began. Think back, look back, don't ever go back. What's wrong, what's right, what's left is only a year of change to make a difference. A year of change to make my preference known. I can't do this on my own. My work has just begun. No, I'm still not done. Mr. President, if we are to pass the Violence Against Women Act provisions that Senator Biden has worked tirelessly on for years and years now, including safe visitation centers, taking weapons away from those who have been found guilty of abusing their spouses and children, we will be sending a very powerful message to the women of this community. The violence is not your fault. There will be support for you from your government, and perpetrators will be held accountable.
Gave us hope when there was none and promised soon that change would come. Part of me still can't believe he won.
He really can put up a fight.
Ally there for us both day and night. This Paul kid's alright.
He's in his groove, I know it well. He's rabble-rousing, raising hell. He's loud and proud and on your side. We'll change the world, we'll change the tide. It's
A year of change.
our hope is stronger.
A year of change.
The longer that he goes, where he ends up, no one knows. He's no army of one, we've only just begun.
Paul, thank you so much for helping pass the Violence Against Women Act. Truly, we could not have done it without you.
Well, I should be thanking you, and Sheila too, of course. It's a nice feeling, getting things done, isn't it?
That's why we're here.
You know, it would be nice to get a healthcare bill going again.
Bill and I would actually really appreciate your help on that. Now, maybe the time isn't right for something more drastic, but we were thinking maybe a more piecemeal approach. We're calling it the State Children's Healthcare Insurance Program, SCHIP for short. It would at least ensure that every child in the nation has access to healthcare. Can we count on your support?
Send what you have over to my office. We'll be happy to look it over.
Glad to hear it.
See? Stick to it and things can get better.
I never should have doubted you.
Just remember, we're a team.
Well, let's go home, celebrate. Tomorrow, children's healthcare.
And then the world.
Paul was finally feeling a sense of momentum in his otherwise stalled Senate career, and with his re-election looming, it could not have come sooner. Unfortunately, Paul's renewed sense of optimism would soon have the brakes slammed on it, as Republicans capitalized on the angst and unrest under the Clinton administration to capture the House and Senate for the first time in 4 decades. And some of Paul's best ideas would have to wait.
And when you think it's over, the hard part can begin. You'll end up losing more than you will win. But tap into that fire that inspires old and new. It all began with you, and now it's more than you. We've all got more work to do. A year of change to seize the moment. A year of change. Don't let the movement die, and don't let it pass us by. We're no army of one, and our work's not done. A year of change.
Hello, Frank? Yes, it's Mr. Coleman. Listen, I'm reaching out to some of our best supporters on behalf of Paul Wellstone. Yes, Senator Wellstone. Paul is in a tough re-election bid against Rudy Boschwitz, and he... Yes, I understand, and I assure you, Paul doesn't want to raise taxes on anyone. He just thinks that you should pay more. No, Paul is not a communist. Okay, well, I'm very sorry to hear that. If you change your mind, you know where to... Yes. Goodbye, then. Jesus, Paul, could you be any harder to raise money for?
Hey, if the Richie Rich types don't like me, I must be doing something right, right?
Well, that might work for you, but it makes my job a lot harder.
Well, keep it up. I'm just glad to have someone else to talk to the donors for once.
Paul's re-election effort was in full swing. Now, my brother never had much patience for the fundraising circuit, so for that, he turned to that up-and-comer in Minnesota politics, Norm Coleman, who'd recently been elected mayor of St. Paul, to chair his re-election campaign.
Another satisfied customer?
Listen, I know you've got the whole happy warrior shtick going for you, and that's great, but would it kill you to bend the rules just a little bit? It would make our donors a lot more receptive.
Well, politics isn't just about pleasing donors, Norm, and it's not a shtick. I'm just trying to do the right thing.
What do you need a guy like me for?
Doing the right thing doesn't pay the bills. Look, I know I may be a bit divisive.
A bit?
But you've seen the latest polls. We're cruising. I mean, that's not to say we should take it easy, but I think my approach is working, Norm. It's really resonating with people.
I guess. I don't know how many more of these I can do today.
Hey, I've got an idea. Field trip, you and me.
What do you have in mind?
Well, I'm supposed to take a tour of this correctional facility in Tallulah for troubled youth. You should come with.
Paul, with the Todd sell.
Come on, it'll be good for you. Get out of this dusty office and stretch your legs. Besides, it can't be any worse than another donor call, can it?
You got me there. Let's go.
Good. 6 a.m., bright and early.
Gentlemen, welcome. We've been expecting you. You are...
Norm Coleman, Mayor of St. Paul.
Senator Wellstone.
Excellent. Well, if you'd follow me, I'd be happy to give you the tour of the facility.
Actually, I was hoping we might have a chance to talk to the kids.
I don't know about that. They're on their free period right now, and I'm sure that they
Or
would much
perhaps
like...
on your tour you could show us to the solitary confinement cells.
That wouldn't be terribly interesting, but...
Well, forgive me. I already find it terrible and interesting that they're subject to solitary confinement at all. I insist we be allowed to check out their quarters.
I would need authorization first. You with me. You don't cause any trouble.
Wouldn't dream of it. Hey, how are you?
Not so good.
What's wrong?
This food. They never give us food like this. Never had these clothes either. All these shoes. We walk around barefoot, and it's hot. There's no air conditioning. Smell the paint on the tables. These tables were freshly painted. All of this is just a show, and it's all just for you, Senator.
This is a show. And we're going to get beaten up when you leave. We get beaten up all the time.
Is there anyone you can talk to about this?
They let us see a doctor sometimes.
How often?
Saw one 4 months ago. 2 months before that. I've been here 8 months.
They just give us
They
pills
just give us pills.
and hope we shut up. Ain't no time for doctors.
You're not going to get in trouble for telling me this, are you?
Either way, we still get beaten up. That's just how it is here.
It's just how it is. That's awful.
So, what are you gonna do about it?
Well, I'm going to help.
Yeah, right. And you're just like all the other white people. You'll forget about us as soon as you leave.
We're ready for your tour, Senator.
Oh, that's okay. I've seen enough. I won't forget you. I promise.
So that's the Paul Wellstone way, huh? Up and leaving without putting up a fight.
Our next fight is in Washington, Norm, not here.
You could have only said something. Anything. Those kids, you just left them there.
Those boys know what would have happened if I had made a scene, and so do you. This isn't my first rodeo, Norm.
I never said it was.
So then don't make assumptions about me. Don't start making assumptions about the Paul Wellstone way. What, you think saving those kids only looks like stamping your feet and shouting from the highest rooftops? You think that's the only way to save them? What saving him looks like?
Saving who, Paul?
You have no idea what brought me here.
What did bring you here?
Someone else had to see it.
See what?
The reason I came to Washington.
I never realized how bad these boys had it.
I did. My brother, Stephen. He was sent to a place just like this when he was a teenager. Suffered from mental breakdowns. I didn't really get it, but I don't know if I even get it now, but I just knew I had to do something about it. Whenever I would see him, look at him through the window in the door and see the sadness hiding behind his eyes, I just knew I never wanted anyone to have to feel that alone ever again. That's why I came to Washington.
Oh, I never knew.
Well, I never told anyone. Not even Sheila. Oh, say shalom, bim romam, huya, say shalom, aleinu, ve'el kol Yisrael ve'imru, amen. You know it.
Of course. No Jewish kid worth that kosher salt wouldn't know the prayer of peace.
Know the words, maybe, but not too many know the meaning. Look, you're a good man, Norm, and I know you have your sights set higher than where you are now, but if you ever want to be more than what you are, you need to start by being true to who you are now. Don't ever forget that.
Of course, I'd heard all about Paul's visit to Tallulah. As soon as he returned to Congress, he blew the lid on the whole operation and finally convinced Congress to act. Standards were toughened, and troubled boys and girls were to be treated with dignity and care. It was too late for me, but knowing that Paul Wellstone could prevent at least one more Stephen Wellstone, well, it's almost enough to give you some faith in politics. Almost. I thought about reaching out. I wish I had. I wish I'd done a lot of things differently. I'm sure Paul did too, but for at least that moment, both Wellstone brothers could take immense pride in what had been accomplished. I'll never forget that. Thank you, Paul. You know, it really felt there for a minute that things were falling into place. Paul was an accomplished senator and was nearing the end of his self-imposed two-term limit, but the future looked bright for Paul. It shouldn't have come as any surprise then that certain rumors began to swirl around Paul's plans for the next presidential election. If only.
Wellstone wins re-election over ex-Senator Boschwitz, and by 9 points to about as much as Clinton went by.
Yeah, it was a pretty good win.
No need to be so modest, Paul. There's no cameras here.
Yeah, give yourself a little credit, Professor.
Thanks, you two. Still,
You're not still thinking about Norm Coleman, are you?
You're better off without him.
I'm just surprised is all.
Well, listen to this. Coleman to leave DFL. Kemp Carlson to welcome St. Paul mayor.
While the political party I belong to changes, nothing about how I govern or my beliefs change at all.
Buddying up with all those Republicans, you know he's just loving the spotlight. Come on, you just had a big win. You have better things to think about than Norm Coleman.
You're right.
Well, I better head out, Teach.
Big day tomorrow.
Finals. You know, I'd say Carleton isn't the same without you, but with every student of mine doing a project on Paul Wellstone, it's like you never left.
Well, wish him luck for me. So, I heard something interesting through the grapevine.
What's that?
It appears some people are under the impression that I'm running for president.
What makes them think that?
Beats me. Seems like a guy can't start making appearances all around the country these days without speculation running rampant.
So, are you running for president?
I haven't decided yet.
So you have been thinking about it.
And I haven't decided.
When were you planning on talking to me about it?
When I decided.
I can help you decide.
I know, but I also know if anyone could talk me out of it, it would be you.
Well, so do you want to talk about it?
I suppose. How do you want to do this?
Pros and cons.
Ah, yes. Practical and proven. Let's get to it.
Pro. Could do a lot more as president than as senator.
Con, would it start having to make a lot more compromises?
More so than now?
Well, I'll be honest, being 1 out of 100 gives me a lot more freedom to vote my conscience. I may not always be Bill's biggest fan, but at the end of the day, you gotta get something on your desk.
Pro. Would be a clean break from the Clinton years.
Con would be running directly against the vice president and the entire Clinton machine.
You think Gore will run?
I think it's a strong possibility. Not that I've never been the underdog, of course.
What's so wrong with Gore?
Nothing, really, but that's kind of the problem, you know? I think Gore has the right message. I just don't think he's the right messenger. We need someone new, someone inspiring, someone who can get people excited.
We need someone like you.
Sure. If you want to put it that way, sure. I like Gore. He's a nice guy and everything. It's just, we need someone who will make people think change is coming, not just someone who will stay the course.
Okay. As long as you're clear as to why it should be you over him. Pro. Would be fulfilling your lifelong dream.
Con would have a lot less time to spend with you and the kids.
I suppose that is worth thinking about.
You know I would never do anything that you're not okay with, right?
I know, but I don't want to stand in the way of your dreams either.
And you are a lot more important to me than some teenage flight of fancy.
So, what do you want to do?
I don't know. It's a big decision.
Well, I guess I wasn't such a held after all.
No, you did fine. What would you do?
It's not my decision.
Well, what if it was? What would you do?
What would you say I should do?
I'd say you should do it.
That's the answer then, isn't it?
Thanks.
Pudding.
Recent moves by Senator Paul Wellstone has everybody in Washington asking the same question. Will he make a run for the president? While he will start out as sure underdog to Vice President Al Gore, sources say he is hoping to tap into disillusionment with the Clinton administration and his own credentials with liberal supporters to carry him to an upset victory, with a formal announcement imminent any day now.
Paul, it's Jesse. I heard about your presidential run. Well, maybe. Whatever you decide, you have my support. For everything you've done for me, for our community, I want to return the favor. The Rainbow Coalition will shine again.
Sheila, it's Hillary. Listen, I'll cut right to it. The White House wants Gore, but if Paul's got his heart set on running, don't make it too easy on him. If Al loses, it's his own fault. I've always really admired Paul, and I think he'd be a good president one day. And if that's the way the chips fall, Bill and I will have his back, all the way to the general.
People of the United States, I would like to announce that I,
Multiple sclerosis?
Well, that is what the tests are saying. Would certainly explain the aches and pains you've been feeling lately.
I honestly just thought that was the stress of the campaign.
Well, that certainly isn't helping things any.
Forgive me, doctor, but what exactly does this mean?
Well, basically, it's a disease that causes communication breakdown between the brain and the rest of your body. Your immune system attacks your nerve fibers, and eventually, the nerve damage can become permanent.
Is it curable?
It's treatable. You should be able to live a normal life as long as you take care of yourself anyway. your life expectancy, but as of now, no, there is no cure.
I understand.
I heard you were thinking of running for president.
Patient-doctor confidentiality, right? Yes, it's true.
You may want to reconsider. You're not the first politician I've treated, and certainly not the first one to run for president. I've seen the years come off of men much healthier than you. I know I'm not supposed to be partial, but you're one of the best we have, and I don't want you to do anything to endanger yourself.
Thank you, doctor.
We'll think about it.
I know this is a big shock. I'll give you two some space.
So what are you thinking?
Just one more thing to add to the plate, I guess.
You can't mean,
I still need to keep running, Sheila.
Paul, you can't.
What other choice do I have?
I don't know. What was your plan in case you didn't run? Stay in the Senate, help Gore get elected?
This could be my only chance.
Paul, you heard what the doctor said. Your work-life balance, that's one thing, but putting your life in jeopardy just for the sake of maybe becoming president?
You don't think I can do it?
That's not what I said.
I have been up against worse my entire life, and I've always powered through.
Yes, and I've always been there for you, but this, Paul, I can't be with you on this.
This is my dream.
I know.
I'm the only one who can do it, who can get everything done.
What about Gore? I know he's not your first choice, but you yourself said he's not that bad.
Not that bad is not what this country needs right now.
And you putting your life at risk to carry out this campaign. A campaign where you yourself have said you'd be the underdog. It's not what I need from you right now. Paul, you don't have to be president to help people.
Well, look where it's gotten me so far.
Yes, just look. You've had a great career. You have done great things. You have given the world so much. No one would judge you for standing down.
You will.
No, I won't. I'm telling you it's okay.
Stephen will.
What does Stephen have to do with any of this?
I don't know. Just, you wouldn't understand.
I'm trying to. Just talk to me.
Forget it.
Paul, please. Don't shut down on me like your brother did. I'm here for you. I want to understand. I spend my life trying to know you, and just when I think I do, you turn me away. Don't turn me away. Just like the first day that I met you, you opened my heart and I let you in. I let this
not be a candidate in this upcoming presidential election. I'm afraid an old wound from my college wrestling days has come back to haunt me, and I just wouldn't have the endurance. I'm sorry, I know that might be disappointing for some of you, but do not despair. Vice President Gore has my full support in the upcoming presidential election. And I believe he will carry us to a victory, not just with the White House, but with majorities in the House and Senate as well. And I intend to be a part of that movement, starting with our very own Senate election here in Minnesota. Thank you all.
You did the right thing, Paul.
I know. I'm sorry.
Sorry for what?
Not asking for more.
Let me in.
Let me in.
Let me understand. Let me in. Let me take your
Just
hand.
don't know.
Like you let me in so many years ago. The you I used to know. I know you. I know
The dawn of a new millennium. The Y2K craze came and went, and all eyes focused on the 2000 presidential election. Sometimes I still wonder about Paul's decision not to run. Had he gone for it, maybe he would have. Anyway, after a long and protracted battle, one settled by the Supreme Court by the slimmest of margins, the beginning of the 21st century also marked the beginning of a new era of politics.
I can't claim to have won the majority of the people, or even a few of the people. But as president, I promise to be president of everyone, not just those who voted for me.
Come in. Senator Biden, what do I owe the pleasure?
Oh, just wanted to say hi. It's been a minute, hasn't it?
Feels like it's been forever.
Heard you've fallen on some hard times.
You could say that.
Well, whatever it is, just don't give up on this place. When my wife and daughter died, I thought that was it, but the Senate, this place really came through for me. Has a way of becoming your second family. So, I hope you stick around.
Thank you, Joe.
And feel free to stop by anytime just to talk. Doesn't have to be about a bill or politics or any of that, just anything.
I will.
Republicans held the trifecta. Full control of the presidency, House, and Senate for the first time in nearly 50 years, though it wouldn't be for long. Thanks to one convenient party-switching Republican senator, Democrats achieved the barest 51-49 majority, allowing Paul and his colleagues to try and make the best of things, Paul fast approaching the end of his two-term promise. But no one could have imagined what was yet to come.
On September the 11th, enemies of freedom committed an act of war against our country. Americans have many questions tonight. Americans are asking, who attacked us? The evidence points to a collection of loosely affiliated terrorist organizations known as Al-Qaeda. Americans are asking, why do they hate us? They hate our freedoms, our freedom of religion, our freedom of speech, our freedom to vote and assemble and disagree with one another. Every nation and every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists. From this point forward, every foreign nation found to be harboring or supporting terrorism will be considered a hostile regime.
Come in.
Am I interrupting something?
Paul, not at all. Come in. Have a seat.
Madam, sorry, Senator Clinton.
Just Hillary, Paul. How many times has it been?
Sorry, Hillary. A little late for spring cleaning, don't you think?
Oh, this? Oh, just a habit I've picked up over the years. You get so many phone calls, constituents, lobbyists, activists. I've started just writing down the details on any scrap of paper I have handy and sorting out the details whenever I get a chance. It's built up a bit of a queue over the summer, as you can tell.
Sounds chaotic.
It's messy, but it works. So, what can I do for you?
Well, before anything else, I wanted to ask, how have you been?
It's been challenging. My poor interns, the phones have been ringing off the hooks. Insurance claims not going through, missing relatives. A lot of desperate people just looking for answers.
I know what you mean. My office has been a madhouse too. You know, something like this happens thousands of miles away, and yet people act like Minnesota's next. It'd almost be funny if... Did you, know anyone?
A few.
I'm sorry.
I'll be fine. I can't help but think of all the mothers and fathers out there, sons and daughters. How blessed I am that it wasn't Chelsea or Bill. Or... Do you mind if we talk about something else?
Not at all.
So, now that we've discussed the elephant in the room, what did you want to talk about?
Well, I was thinking of going for another term.
You mean you weren't already planning to?
Well, I promised in my first run that I wouldn't go for 3.
Paul, if I tried to count every politician who broke a term limit pledge, I'd run out of fingers faster than you could say Orrin Hatch.
Well, you know me. Breaking promises isn't really my forte.
So what changed your mind?
I mean, you've seen how things are going. Bush, the Republicans running rampant over everything we got done when Bill was president. And you know, with this latest tragedy, they're going to milk it for all it's worth.
So you're deciding to stay in the fight?
I can't just leave it like this.
And Sheila's okay with it?
I haven't talked to her about it yet.
Well, that should be your first step.
I know, and I will.
Well, what are you talking to me for?
Well, I was just thinking maybe this time we could use a little outside help.
Thought you leftist types weren't big fans of outside spending.
Well, McCain-Feingold will help level the playing field a bit, and I just get the feeling that this is going to be the toughest race of my life.
Yeah, bit of pragmatism never hurt anybody.
I don't know if I go that far. I don't want to do things too differently from how I got things done in Minnesota. I mean, it's got me to where I am now. I just want to know if I can count on your support.
Paul, I'm surprised you thought you even needed to ask.
Well, thank you. You've heard about who they might be running for my seat.
Huh.
That Norm Coleman, mayor of St. Paul.
St. Paul has a Republican mayor?
Well, it didn't always. He used to be a Democrat, and then he changed parties after he got booed off the stage at the 1996 DNC.
96 DNC. Was that the one where we all got up on stage and did the Macarena?
I try to forget that part.
So, a former Democrat probably going on about how extreme we've all gotten. That kind of stuff's catnip to the swing voters. But not to worry. We know what we're up against.
So what do we do now?
We do what it takes. Let me tell you what my father always told me. Never try too hard to stand out from the crowd. Now in retrospect, he might have undersold me. 'Cause I made my living making myself loud. Oh, wouldn't he be proud to tell the world you promised you'd retire? Well, I must admit, I'm glad it was a lie. 'Cause we need you when the situation's dire. And the answer's looking me straight in the eye. Whoa, 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 there's so much riding on the line. But don't fear, we'll see this thing through. Though I know if this election were all mine, I can safely say that I'd be willing to do what it takes to win. The end must justify the means. Do what it takes
myself to survive. Rough and tumbling with the riffraff at the roughest. There's just one way to make it out alive. Whoa, I've seen the world from either side. Nothing changed except for the view. To myself alone, I solemnly confide that I'm not too different from the likes of you. Do what it takes to win. Always fight for the upper hand. Do what it takes to win. Then you'll understand. All of my life has been me looking out for number one. Do what it takes to win. This battle's just begun.
Well,
I see my future closing in. I get a feeling that I'm dealing with a foe who will do whatever he thinks helps him win. I've got to start thinking like you. Is it so wrong to bring a gun to a knife fight? This question's long since we've passed what's wrong and what's right. The world is burning. I must do now what I must do. Turning to a friend who'll help me to do what it takes to win. What's begun, no one can stop. Do what it takes to win. Take me to the top.
so tell your next of kin your campaign's on the up and up. Do what it takes to win this cold.
Do what it takes to
I trust no one but myself. I don't rely on others. That's just one more reason why I can't be the way you are, the way you want the world to be. This is not the end. This is not goodbye.
I'm ready.
To your third term.
Now, some have been asking, who is Norm Coleman? And I believe I owe you an answer. Some have called me a Republican in name only. Others a pawn of the current Republican administration. Well, folks, when I switched parties, I didn't change my stance on a single issue. I take pride in having earned President Bush's early support in this race. If you want a voice against the system, a voice that fights where we're going, that fights the president, then by all means, vote for Paul Wellstone.
Well, Paul, I didn't know if you were going to make it home this week.
Sheila, what are you doing here?
Haven't you heard? Your old buddy Norm Coleman is taking a crack at your Senate seat. And he's going in hard. Your office has been swamped with calls, so thought I'd come in, lend a hand.
Well, actually, that was something I wanted to talk to you about. I want to run for another term.
Oh.
Sorry, I should have talked to you about it sooner.
It's okay. Kind of figured.
You did?
I know you better than you think.
And you're okay with it?
I mean, I won't pretend that I don't have my concerns, but
Well, let's play the old pros and cons game again.
pro. You've become quite the institution around here.
I don't know if I'd use the word institution.
Well, I would.
Con, I promised I would only run for 2.
Pro, you are the person we need for this Senate seat. Without you, we probably lose.
Con, I don't want to wear myself out. MS is no walk in the park.
We can manage. It's not as though being senator is as demanding as being president.
I suppose.
Pro, you want to.
But
Pro, I want you to.
that's all I needed to hear.
Let's give Norm the fight of his life.
Tonight, I want to take a few minutes to discuss a grave threat to peace and America's determination to lead the world in confronting that threat. The threat comes from Iraq. It arises from the Iraqi regime's own actions, its history of aggression, and its drive towards an arsenal of terror. It possesses and produces chemical and biological weapons. It is seeking nuclear weapons. It gives shelter and support to terrorism and practices terrorism against its own people. The entire world has witnessed Iraq's 11-year history of defiance, deception, and, well, bad faith. Later this week, Congress will vote on this matter. I have asked Congress to authorize the use of America's military, if necessary, to enforce UN Security Council demands. Approving this resolution does not mean that military action is imminent or unavoidable. The resolution will tell the United Nations and the world that America speaks with one voice and is determined to make the demands of the civilized world mean something. Congress will also be sending a message to the dictator in Iraq telling him his only chance, his only choice, is full compliance, and the time for that compliance is limited. Members of Congress are nearing a historic vote. I'm confident they will fully consider the facts and their duties.
Never thought they'd come dumber than quail. I'd hope they wouldn't anyway.
So the airstrikes weren't enough. Now he wants a ground war too.
Seems that way.
He did say there wouldn't necessarily be a war.
Oh no, let's not kid ourselves. That's exactly where this is headed. Added bonus is that now the Republicans get to pin every Democrat up against the wall over it.
So what should we do?
Only one thing to do.
I agree. Vote
Vote for
against
it.
it. Are you serious?
Paul, don't be ridiculous. Anyone who votes against this is going to get crucified.
Then let's call their bluff. Let's not let them drag us into the mud with them.
Easy for you to say. How do you plan to sell that to your constituents?
Same way I always do, by telling them the truth.
Easy for you to say all the way out in the middle of the country. You think I don't have hundreds of New Yorkers hounding my offices every day calling for blood?
We know what this means. We lost people in those
But
towns
I
too.
lost constituents. People who voted for me less than a year ago. They're scared. They're angry. They want action. They want someone to pay.
Then we owe it to them not to send our military in a wild goose chase. What does Saddam have to do with any of this?
Who knows? But you heard Colin Powell. If Iraq is building nukes, then
we have to negotiate. We are not yet past the point of diplomacy.
And how do you think this will affect your re-election campaign? What good are you if that Coleman creep beats you because of this?
Senator, at some point, if we don't stand up for the things we believe in, we have to accept that we don't believe in them at all.
Who said that?
I did.
Well, when you're done talking like you're on the set of the West Wing, maybe you can join the rest of us in the real world.
The real world. Hillary, this is the real world.
War should be necessary as a last resort and not preemptive. And it should have moral authority. Now today, we can stop this war. It's cold outside, but warm in our hearts. Now all of you together are generating some serious street heat. George Bush can feel it. Tony Blair can feel it. Turn up the heat.
That's why I was sent here to represent. People like Jesse and my old students. They deserve to have their voices heard too. I am here to be the voice for the voiceless.
Fine, lose. But don't say I didn't warn you.
I won't.
Was that really necessary?
What?
That West Wing crack. You should have knocked someone for saying what they believe in.
Paul isn't the only one making difficult decisions here. Do you think I support this war? It's a load of crap. They've been pushing to invade the Middle East since Bill was in office. It's just another avenue to funnel tax dollars to their corporate buddies. But what we're dealing with here is unprecedented.
I'm not saying you don't have a point. But you know, Paul, he's always marched to his own beat.
I know, and I love that about him, but not gonna lie, it can get pretty annoying.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Do you think he can still win if he votes no? The polls are neck and neck right now. And
Yes, I do.
Why?
Because I have to.
We're in the final stages of a brutal Senate campaign. One of these two men will be your U.S. Senator for the next 6 years. The incumbent, Paul Wellstone, or the challenger, Norm Coleman. We'll begin with opening statements, and then we'll dive into the issues. I want this to be clean and fair. The incumbent will have the first words. Please begin.
With due respect death to my opponent. He's a proven proponent of whatever he thinks helps him get ahead. He has not one honest position to help the rich, his only mission. You can never trust a single word he said. Oh, Norm, if I could only be like you, never having to own up or get a clue. Oh, Norm, if I could only make you see what you were in for when you tried to take on me. It's a battle of ideas, it's a war between the words. When a million people make their voices heard, they say this all ends in November, but I'll always remember what it's like to come 2 spots ahead of third.
Well, it looks like the gloves are up already. Mr. Mayor, your response.
How can't I say this and be respectful? You can have a platform that is dreadful. Do whatever it takes to get ahead. The world's at war now, time to man up. We need someone who can stand up to put these liberals back in their beds. Paul, here's the best lesson I've learned. Flying too close to the sun will get you burned. Oh, Paul, you will regret running again. And your pacifistic nonsense lets me win. It's a battle of ideas, it's a war between the words. When a million people make their voices heard, they say this all ends in November, but I'll always remember what it's like to come 2 spots ahead of third.
And now for some specifics. Your position on abortion.
For it.
Against it.
Is the estate tax an extortion?
Disagree.
Agree.
On the topic of gay marriage,
I'm for it.
I abhor it.
do you support the Iraq War?
I have several reservations. I don't believe this administration. If there's proof of weapons, we have yet to see. But if there are, then we should fight it.
Your response.
Undecided.
Well, that wraps things up for these two. In our continuing interest in reaching out to the common voter, I'd like to now hear from our panel of undecided voters who have been watching here with great interest. Voters, what are your thoughts?
They're like 2 sides of the same coin. You know, I kind of like that Coleman guy. I feel like I could go have a beer with him.
There's an election this year?
Well, there you have it. Stay tuned for our continuing coverage on the resolution to authorize military force in Iraq.
How can't I say this without malice? I cannot come off as callous. However he votes, I'll do whatever it takes.
Senator Wellstone, on Resolution 114, authorization of the use of force in Iraq, how do you vote?
Oh, say shalom, Roma, say shalom, Aleinu, Ve'al kol Yisrael ve'iru, Amen. A year of change, it makes no difference. A year of change, but let the record show that Paul Wellstone voted no. Because it's 2002 and I'm still not through.
The motion passes 77 to 23.
A year of change.
Well, Paul, never let it be said that you don't have a flair for theatrics.
I certainly try.
If this is what it takes for you, then who am I to say otherwise? I hope you win, truly.
Thank you.
You know, I think I saw him again.
Ooh,
That boy that I met on the beach. All those years ago.
that boy who just blew his re-election bid, you mean?
Don't be so sure. People love an underdog.
So what now?
What do you mean?
Lost the vote. Been here for 12 years and just feels like everything's only gotten worse.
In some ways. and maybe not in others. But either way, the only thing we can do is the only thing we've always done.
What's that?
We keep on fighting. Lift up your head and smile. Put all your doubts at ease. Feels like it's been a while since we could breathe. Nothing left to forget. Nothing left to forgive. Just try to make the best and try to live. 'Cause I know our best days are ahead, though people say we've left them behind. Listen to what's inside you instead. Just look up and you will find we will rise to face tomorrow. We will rise through pain and sorrow. We'll do what we can, then a little more. We will rise to see the daylight. If together we unite, we'll be stronger than we've ever been before. When the sun comes up to meet the morning skies, we will rise.
Sheila, I think I found it.
What's that?
The missing piece. You remember?
How could I forget?
I wish I could live in this moment forever.
You're going to have to let go eventually.
I know.
I know.
It's time to go, Paul.
That was the last big vote my brother ever took. The rest, well, most of you already know the rest.
Tragedy strikes in the land of 10,000 lakes. Senator Paul Wellstone, his wife and daughter, have perished in a plane crash along with 4 others. Wellstone was in the middle of a tough re-election campaign against Republican Norm Coleman.
So that's it then. Paul Wellstone's story. A life dedicated to serving the people, working to make the world a better place. And just like that, he's gone. I wish I could say it amounted to anything, but as I see the world today, it's gotten harder and harder to keep the faith. Wars in the Middle East, climate change, a financial meltdown, the Trump election, the coronavirus, the murder of George Floyd, and countless other black lives at the hands of the police. Paul may have left the world a better place than it was before he got here, but still it just feels like everything has gotten so much worse. What would Wellstone do? I still can't tell you. More than anything, I wish I could just look my brother in the eye one more time, to feel his reassuring hand on my shoulder, knowing everything will be fine, but it won't. He's not there.
He is here.
What?
In all of us. Like any good teacher, he left his mark on us and inspired us to fight. You say his life's work amounted to nothing? After Paul's death, a group of Paul's supporters came together to form what was known as Wellstone Action, now Repower, dedicated to carrying on his progressive ideals. Their candidate training program has recruited countless progressives to run for office the way Paul did, successfully electing politicians such as Governor and soon-to-be Vice President Tim Walz.
The Women Against Violence Act has enjoyed bipartisan support for years to come, thanks to the women in Congress, like Vice President Harris, standing up for the laws near and dear to Paul and Sheila's hearts.
The Affordable Care Act passed by Barack Obama saw the implementation of many of Paul's ambitions for health care in the United States, expanding coverage to millions and ensuring critical protections for those with pre-existing conditions.
The Bipartisan Campaign Finance Reform Act, one of Paul's proudest achievements, was compromised by the Supreme Court in 2010. Congressional Democrats are currently working to re-implement its policies way of the For the People Act, passed by the House in 2019.
The Paul Wellstone Mental Health Parity Act was signed into law in 2008, ensuring that healthcare companies and insurance companies could no longer discriminate against those with mental illnesses.
You all fight because of him.
We fight for each other.
We fight for equality.
We fight for justice.
We fight with empathy.
Anyone can do it.
You just need the right tools.
Paul may be gone, but that doesn't mean we can't carry on his mission, his work, to create a better Minnesota and a better America, a better world. Because this isn't just Paul's story or Sheila's story. This is our story. You, me, us. We can fight. We can vote. We can change and make the world better and make things better. It's like you always used to say, we all do better.
When
we all do
better.
As the